Good morning, everybody. So, today I want to read out of First Kings chapter 9, and I want to read verses 1 through 9. And to give you the backstory, uh, the temple, the first temple, has been built. Solomon just made sacrifices dedicating the temple to God. And then this is what happens after that point. 1 Kings 9:1. Now it came about when Solomon had finished building the house of the Lord and the king's house and all that Solomon desired to do, that the Lord appeared to Solomon a second time as he appeared to him at Gibeon. The Lord said to him, I have heard your prayer and your supplication which you have made before me. I have consecrated this house which you have built by putting my name there forever, and my eyes and my heart will be there perpetually. As for you, if you will walk before me as your father David walked, in integrity of heart and uprightness, doing according to all that I have commanded you, and will keep my statutes and my ordinances, then I will establish the throne of your kingdom over Israel forever, just as I promised to your father David, saying, you shall not lack a man on the throne of Israel. But if you or your sons indeed turn away from following me, and do not keep my commandments and my statutes which I have set before you, and go and serve other gods and worship them, then I will cut off Israel from the land of which I have given them, and the house which I have consecrated for my name I will cast out my sight. So Israel will become a proverb and a byword among all peoples, and this house will become a heap of ruins. Everyone who passes by will be astonished and hiss and say, why has the Lord done this to this land and to this house? And they will say, because they forsook the Lord their God, who brought their fathers out of the land of Egypt, and adopted other gods and worshipped them and served them. Therefore the Lord has brought all this adversity on them. So if we look at the history of Israel, or if we look at Israel present day, there is no temple. There is a temple wall that's left, and I think that's actually of the second temple, not the first. The first temple was completely and totally, utterly destroyed. Israel has no king. Now they are a nation now, but but they didn't get to become their own nation again until 1949. And they don't have a king. They have an elected official. And this is all a direct result of the fact that Solomon did, in fact, forsook the Lord towards the end of his life. He started marrying women of other nationalities. He had a ton of wives, a ton of concubines, and he actually built altars to keep them happy, so that they could worship their gods. And then his descendants progressively did even worse things than he did, to the point where God finally did, in fact, destroy the temple. And the Israelites, the majority of them, if they weren't slain, they were taken off to Babylon. So they had lost favor with God for a time because they did not obey, and they did not revere God the way that they used to do. And here's a sobering thought to me. When America was made, it was made, it was created from pilgrims who had left England seeking to serve the Lord in the way they wanted to serve the Lord biblically. Um, and they were escaping the persecution that they were facing from the King of England at the time. Our Constitution is based on biblical Christian Judeo values. And we prospered and prospered and prospered. And we were being blessed as a country, as a nation. And now we see so much wrong with what's going on. We went from a country that was born out of true respect and pure of wanting to follow the Lord to a society now that is favoring the individual, the self. And it's also the culture, our culture has developed to where we're pushing the Lord out. I mean, within my lifetime, a lot of, courtrooms had the Ten Commandments, somewhere on their property. Most of them have been removed. Schools used to have a time of prayer. That was done away with. It's almost like we are, in a sense, following the same footsteps as the Israelites did back in the Old Testament. And this country needs revival. We need to get back with God. We need to serve God. We need to ask God to help us get back right with Him. Christ is our one and only Savior. There's no other that can protect us and save us from ourselves other than Him, because we are sinful people and we have a sinful nature that wants to push God away. And as a nation, if we keep doing that, who's to say that in time we're not going to become like the Israelites did during the Old Testament times, where God's going to get fed up to the point to where He's going to forsake us, and the next thing you know, we're not going to be a country anymore. We're going to be somebody else's prisoners. And that is definitely a world that I do not want to live in, and an America that I don't want to live in. So I'm not trying to be a Danny Downer or whatever, but the only way we can get back to a God-fearing nation is, using our freedom that we have to put in place God-fearing and God-obeying officials in our government positions. Um, because Solomon, he started off really great, but then he started marrying wives from other nations, adopted their culture, and then he was so, his priorities became his women over God. And so he did whatever he had to do to keep them happy, which was allowing them, which was building altars so that they can worship their gods. Well, once he did that, he started going the other direction. He didn't start going towards God, he started going away from God. And, you know, and we have leaders who are in place right now that definitely are more concerned with pleasing the masses than pleasing God. And the further along it goes, it's like a snowball, keeps rolling down, getting bigger, bigger, and bigger. And the past kings of Israel did the same thing. Now there was a few of them who were good, who was bringing the nation of Israel back to God, and they actually prospered during those kings. But unfortunately, the next in line tended to be worse than they were, of course, and then those that followed them were even worse than. And like I said, eventually God had enough. His temple was destroyed, and his people were exiled and captured and removed from the promised land that they were given. I don't know. It just kind of stuck out to me. And this is one of those, getting in your post toasties, I know. But as a nation, we need to fight this culture that is anti-God, that's anti-Christ. We need to ask for forgiveness. We need to put people in place that are God-fearing, God-loving, and God-obeying, so that we can get our nation back to how it was, a Christian nation, following God and prospering with blessings that he bestows upon us as a people. So with that, I love you guys. Have a blessed day, and we will see you tomorrow. Bye.